Hello, welcome. Do you nap? Have you had your nap today? Is napping only for kindergartners? Let's talk about it in today's video. I'm going to share with you the benefits of napping and why we might not be napping. So if you don't nap, my mission is to invite you into the magic and the mystery of napping. And if you do nap, I've got some tips that might help refine the benefits of napping. Welcome, my name is Mira. I'm the Neurospicy Crone, and I'm also an avid napper. I'm an advocate for napping. And so that's what this video is about. If that's of interest to you, please stick around, subscribe to the channel, and share it with anyone else who is wanting to age consciously and starting to recognize that our nervous systems are pretty delicate and a little bit unique, and it requires special care. And I'm here to share that special care with you. So let's talk about napping. First of all, why is napping sometimes considered a negative thing in our society? To understand it completely, we need to get into brain waves, which I will do in a moment. But first of all, consider for yourself, what is your programming around napping? Do you not nap because when you wake up from a nap, you feel groggy or grumpy, or you just feel like you can't get back into the day, and so it ends up kind of washing out the rest of your day and you just don't nap at all? If that's the case, I've got a few great solutions for you in this video. Or maybe you're not napping, or when you do nap, you feel guilty because our society is all about productivity. And oftentimes our value, our worth, and even our identity is tied to production. So if you're not busy, you're not valuable according to society. So if we're napping, we're kind of lazy, we're kind of worthless, we're kind of whatever it is. So just check your programming. When you say, I'm going to take a nap, what other voices bubble up and tell you a different story? And to recognize that is really the first step to the sovereignty and the freedom that we can claim through napping. So let's dive into it. I wanted to talk about brainwave states and then talk about the incredible benefits of napping, especially as we cultivate our spirituality and our creativity, and especially as we age. So there's 5 main brainwave states, and it's not like an Excel spreadsheet where you're either in one cell or the other. We're obviously fluxing through them all at various states. But basically, at the top of the charts is the gamma brainwave state, and G, I think of the goddess. It's like the highest brainwave state. It's when we're in a flow state, when our brains are like superpower brains. The most common brain state is beta, and beta you can think of as busy. That's our busy brain. That's where the dominant culture, the patriarchy, the gray machine wants to keep us at all times. Beta is everyday rational thinking. Of course, we want to have that, but we don't want to live our entire lives in it. However, that's where the dominant culture wants to keep us. Scrolling on your phone, you're in beta. Working on busy work, you're in beta. Always thinking about what you have to do, what you haven't done, if you're good enough, blah, 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 blah. That's all beta. Now, napping and meditation and other states, other things we can practice on a regular basis, allow us to drop down into the softer, more open brain states, starting with the alpha brainwave state. And for this one, I think of awareness and allowing. It's an open and receptive brain state. It's a state when we're in reverie or daydream. If you're gardening and you're just letting your mind wander as you do so, you're in an alpha brainwave state most likely. This is a great state to be in because this is where the default mode network in the brain becomes more active. So it's only recently, certainly after I got out of college, I have a degree in child psychology and we studied the brain. And we know at our age, when we were kids, it was believed that you are born with so many brain cells, and when they're gone, they're gone. And if you drink alcohol, they're going to go away and never come back, that kind of thing. Well, it's completely untrue. We just hadn't fully understood the brain, and still don't to this day, although we've made some pretty radical progress. Some of that progress includes finding out about the default mode network. So this is a brain state where you're off task. And it turns out the neural activity is just as much, if not even a little bit more, than in that busy beta brainwave state. So isn't that interesting? To be off task is very beneficial. When you're in this default mode network, you're open to new ideas. You're open to insights. This is where your intuition lives. This is where your creativity lives. This is where your insights and imagination lives. So it's pretty critical on a daily basis that we allow ourselves time for awareness in the alpha brainwave state. And then as we get a little bit deeper into the brainwave states, the brain slows down even more. The time between thoughts increases, the volume of thoughts decrease. We get into the theta brainwave state. This is a state where an experienced meditator is spending time. This is a deeply, deeply intuitive, creative, insightful state. And as you can think of the brainwave states as a pyramid, and busy beta kind of at the top, and then gamma sort of the star on the mountain, but we're more separate in beta. And as we drop down into slower brainwaves, we experience more connection. The illusion of separation is a rational mind state. So as we slow the brain down, we experience interconnection, which is our true state. So that right there is like the number one cause or reason to spend some time napping every day, right? So then theta state is a pretty low brain state. And then even lower than that is delta. Now, if you have given up naps because you wake up groggy, or you can't wake up after a nap, you're like, or you're grumpy or whatever, it's probably because you dropped all the way down into this lowest brainwave state, which is delta. Delta is deep sleep and dreaming. And a typical sleep wave cycle is about 90 minutes, where we kind of run through all the different states and then cycle back and run through those states again. And that's why we want to run through about 4 or 5 of these cycles every night for a good night's sleep. So the trick for you, if you're that kind of person who's like, oh, I can't nap, is to take a much shorter nap. And I'll show you how to do that next. So those are the different brain states. Now, what are the benefits to napping? There's so many. We know several, and I'm sure there's 100 more that we don't know according to science, right? So first of all, napping really helps with alertness. Just think if drivers had the responsibility and the maturity to pull over and take a nap for 20 minutes, there are so many fatal car accidents on the road because people are drowsy. They're not alert. And if they just spent 20 minutes, they would have the rest of their lives. So if you're feeling super groggy or you just can't think straight, lay down for 10 or 20 minutes. You will feel more alert. Now, a little bit of a longer nap, 60 minutes, you're going to really start to support your memory. So this is great for college students, or for us older women. If we're trying to learn something new, spend some time in that beta state, focus, learning, absorbing, and then go lay down for 60 minutes. And your brain is going to synthesize and integrate all of that information. And you're going to wake up and be like, I understand. So 60 minutes, a little bit longer, and then a 90-minute nap. And this is where we have to be careful because we might drop into that delta brainwave state. A 90-minute nap is really going to promote healing. So in that deeper brainwave states is where the body produces the growth hormone and is really in a in a state where it can repair itself. So if you are feeling sick or you've got an injury or something's going on with your health, mental, emotional, or physical, then a longer nap is really going to serve you very well. And a side note here is that historically, humans for all of time have been biphasic. That means 2 sections of sleep every day. The single section of sleep is a modern invention. It came with artificial light and the Industrial Revolution, where people need to be up and in the factories and working all day without a nap break, and then 1 sleep overnight. That biphasic sleeping still exists in the Latin culture, right? The siesta, go to lunch, take a break, sleep for an hour or 2, maybe even 3, and then go back to work and then go out to dinner at 9 o'clock at night, which is a little bit late for me, but that speaks to that natural thing. So if you are someone who wakes up at 3 in the morning, we've pathologized that. Oh, you have insomnia. But actually, it's very normal. It's very ancient. It's very authentic to wake up in the middle of the night. And if you do, check the story you're telling yourself. Are you saying, oh gosh, I have insomnia, I can't sleep, what's wrong with me? This is terrible, I'm not gonna be able to do anything tomorrow. You could say, wow, this is a very mystical time. When I wake up at 3 in the morning, it's a beautiful time for intimacy. It's a beautiful time for spirituality. It's a beautiful time for that sort of daydream reverie alpha state, which is in many ways more beneficial than that delta state when you're in deep sleep. So if you do wake up in the middle of the night, cherish that time, appreciate it, reframe that story about what it means to be awake in the middle of the night, and then take a nap the next day. So you get to choose the length of nap. 10 or 20 minutes is really ideal for most people. So experiment with it. Otherwise, 60 minutes or even 90 minutes might be what your unique, individual, beautiful body and mind need. So time of day matters as well. A most restorative nap is typically 6 to 8 hours after you wake up. So for me, that's about 3 p.m. And I am like on the couch at 3 p.m. most days. My schedule doesn't always allow for it, but I do like to take a nap in an area other than my own bed where I sleep every night, usually on the couch or on my hammock outside, so that it's just a different experience. My brain associates a full night's sleep with where I sleep in my bed. So then my brain has a different association. Just like when we meditate, we go sit at a special place in our house because our brain associates that place with a certain brainwave state. So our environment has a huge impact on this napping experience as well. So what time of day you nap and how long you nap is completely up to you. Experiment based on what we've been talking about here, what's going to work best for you. An afternoon nap is more restorative, but if you want a more like creative boost nap, then 3 to 5 hours after you wake up could be really sweet. Like taking a nap at 10:30 in the morning. If you get up at 7 a.m., and then you take a 20-minute nap at 10:30 in the morning, especially if you're a writer or doing something creative, that can be really magical for you because you've got that time to revel in those awareness states as your mind goes off task. And it can be pretty amazing, the creativity that comes to you. It's crazy that we're expected to be productive and creative when we're constantly on task. It's just simply not how the brain works. So a couple more tricks to napping, and I hope you're feeling enthusiastic about napping by now because I know I am. So you choose the time of day, you choose the length of time. So how are you going to get yourself out of a nap after 10 or 20 minutes? Well, set an alarm, but what I like to do is you can take an audio file and put it into your alarm on your magical phone and set the alarm for 20 minutes to wake up to positive affirmations. Say them yourself. Take your voice memo and say, I am awake, I am aware, I am creative, I am healthy, whatever the positive affirmations you are, because they're going to start to come in that open and receptive brain state. So it will pull you out of your nap and it will be planting seeds into your unconsciousness as you do so. So either choose some pretty music or a beautiful chime or some affirmations to wake you up out of your nap. Another technique that is very beneficial is something called yoga nidra. There's a modern term for it now because people are sort of creeped out by the word yoga, or they think yoga is all about headstands and handstands and beautiful young ladies on magazine covers. But it's sometimes called non-sleep deep rest, NSDR. That's yoga nidra. And there's a systemized form that's based entirely on the ancient tradition called I rest yoga nidra. And I'm certified in that to train it, to teach it. And so you can pick a yoga nidra, which is basically a guided relaxation. That's 10 or 20 minutes long. Oftentimes they're more like 30 minutes long. So to lay down and listen to one of these guided relaxation tracks does count as a nap because you're dropping into those different brain states. So a guided relaxation can be a great way to get the benefit of the nap. So technically, napping is just laying down. Stop being productive for 20 minutes. You don't have to actually fall asleep to gain the benefits of a nap. I do recommend like an eye mask because the dark as well as very light pressure on your eyes can help to quiet the brain and lower you down into those brain states that we're going for during napping. So you really don't have to sleep. You can lie down. My mom always said when we were kids, you don't have to sleep, but you just have to lay down and be quiet in your own room. I'm like, no problem. I'm happy to do that, right? So just take a break, really, is what it is. So napping is lying down. And if you're highly sensitive, your nervous system will benefit dramatically from disengaging from the sensory world, lying down under a blanket. So you've got some pressure on your nervous system, and cover your eyes. Maybe play some soft music or silence, whatever works for you. You don't have to fall asleep. So again, if you're one of those people who's like, oh, I fall asleep and I can't get awake again, you don't have to actually sleep, but you want to disengage. So that to me counts as a nap. There's another fun style of nap. It's called a coffee nap. If you drink caffeine, coffee or green tea, whatever it is, what the technique is, like, let's say it's 2:30, you're going to make your little espresso or your green tea, whatever it is, drink that caffeinated beverage, and then take a nap immediately afterwards for about 20 minutes because the caffeine takes about 20 minutes to kick into the system. So the caffeine will help wake you up out of your nap. So if you're feeling kind of groggy and slow and low in the afternoon anyways, and you're going to have a caffeinated beverage in the afternoon so you can keep going, because it's all about keep going, right? Then try the coffee nap. Brew yourself a nice, beautiful caffeinated beverage, drink it, lay down for 20 minutes, have some beautiful music or some positive affirmations, wake you up, and you will be amazed at how productive, effective, and creative, inspiring, and enjoyable those last few hours of your tasky type work becomes because you took a nap. Okay, have I convinced you? Are you going to nap? Please leave a note in the comments. Hey, I'm a napper. I'm right with you, Mira. I'm an advocate of naps as well, if that's you. Or, you know what, I haven't been napping, but I think I'm going to give it a try. And if you do give it a try, please share. We love to see how everybody's unfolding and blossoming in our community together. For a little more inspiration, Salvador Dali, who was a very, very creative artist, had a nap technique that he called nap with a key. And Einstein did this as well. And I think Thomas Edison or other big inventors, people who came up with massive world-changing ideas, took advantage of the nap. And so they would sit in a comfortable chair like this, and they would hold a key. And, you know, I think in Einstein's case, he was holding some coins, but Salvador Dali had a key and he had a plate on the floor, and he would hold the key and they would sort of drift off. And as he fell asleep, the key would drop out of his hand, ding! And as the key hit the plate, he would have this amazing insight. In fact, he has a pretty famous painting that he did, and he titled it like, basically, this is what was on my mind when I woke up from a nap. So if you're really looking to be more creative and more spiritual, a nap is really a powerful strategy. And it's also a big FU to the patriarchy, because this constant busyness is a real lie. And it's a real foundational root of our feelings of inadequacy. And it's just not true. You are amazing. You are perfect. You're a brilliant and beautiful human being. And I'm so glad you're here. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share this with somebody else who you think might benefit from a little refinement of the beautiful experience of daily napping. And again, leave us a comment and let us know how it goes. Take good care.